Good morning, friends. Before we commence the proceedings of the day, may I request Rotarian Harikarnam to please mute all the participants with an option to unmute themselves whenever required. Please keep yourself muted to avoid any disturbances during the meeting. Another housekeeping announcement, questions and answers will be taken after the talk by the chief guest, Ruya sir. Please post your questions and answers in the chat box to save the timings. I now request our President of Rotary Club of Ambattur, Rotarian M. Vishwanathan, to call the meeting to order.
Thank you. Good morning. Meeting called to order.
Thank you, President. May I now request R.N. Jayashri Parsuram to kindly do the invocation.
प्रथम वंदना गौरी नंदन प्रथम वंदना गौरी नंदन हे शिवनंदन पाहि गजानन हे शिवनंदन पाहि गजानन प्रथम प्रथम वंदना गौरी नंदन एकदंत गुणवंत विनायक एकदंत गुणवंत विनायक विघ्नहरण शुभ मंगल चरणा विघ्नहरण शुभ मंगल चरणा प्रणव स्वरूपा पाहि गजानन प्रणव स्वरूपा पाहि गजानन प्रथम वंदना गौरी नंदन विघ्न विनाशक सिद्धि विनायक विघ्नहरण शुभ मंगल चरणा प्रथम वंदना गौरी नंदन प्रथम वंदना गौरी नंदन गौरी नंदन गौरी नंदन.
Thank you, and Jayashri. That was really very, very melodious and a wonderful invocation. Thank you so much, and Jayashri Parsuram. Well, friends, I'm Colonel Bhupender Singh, President-elect from Rotary Club of Ambattur, your host for the meeting, and I once again extend you all a very, very hearty greetings of the day. This is a joint club meeting with Rotary Club of Bombay West, and this unique and great initiative called Sun Never Sits in Rotary to promote world peace also coincides with the 116th birthday celebrations of Rotary. It's my great honor and privilege to extend a very hearty welcome to our chief guest, Rotarian Arjinder Roya ji, who is the torchbearer of Rotary Peace Fellowship. And also we have another scholar, a well-known Rotary Peace Fellowship, Miss Rukmini Iyer. We're also thankful to the President of Rotary Club of Bombay West, Rotarian Dr. Manoj Patel, President-elect Rotarian Gautam, President nominee Rotarian Dharmender Sharma, and all the past presidents of both the clubs, and that is RC Ambattur and Bombay West, ANS, Rotarians, Rotractors from other clubs, and also the ANATs. I once again extend you a very, very hearty welcome for today's program. This program is the brainchild of our past president, Rotarian Vasanthi Ranganathan, who is also the chairman, Rotary Alumni Association, Rotary District 3232, and also the past president Rotarian Dakshani, who happens to be the chairman, Rotary International Service, District 3232. And these are the two leading lights who have worked overnight for the last 40 days to make this program a real unique one and a successful one. We have our charter president, Rotarian Nkesa, who's the district chair, Peace Fellowship for Rotary Districts 3232. I once again thank you all for joining to promote this world peace. Sir, we do not have past President Vasanthi Ranganathan. She's not joined as yet.
She joined. There's a message from her.
She is joined, right? Okay, sir. Now, if she is joined, okay, so we'll continue. Before I call upon Rotarian
Her name
Vasanthi,
is here. She joined. Yeah, Vasanthi is there.
okay.
Let Vasanthi.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Okay. Before I call upon our past president, Rotarian Vasanthi Ranganathan, to give us the concept review, a few words about this great personality. Rotarian Vasanthi Ranganathan was identified by our charter member, Rotarian Jay Shetty, to join our club. He went as an ambassadorial scholar in 1982 to Hartford, CT. She has addressed district conferences, held district positions, and continues to hold club positions. She's a bell cadre and she organizes the program as a scale advisor. Rotary Club of Ambattur is happy to have her as a member of the organizing team. Today, she's also the charter president of Rotary Alumni Association 3232. Our charter president Nkesa is also alumni of Ambattur, and Shashi Kumar is working as a technical sport, is the past president of Rotary Ambattur. He is also the preferred alumni. Amongst the Rotary alumni, we are very proud that Fani Kumar, who happens to be the Rotary Mission Peace Fellow, he has done a lot of hard work to make this program a successful one. Before I call upon past President Rotarian Vasanthi Ranganathan, I'll just play a video which we have got from the RRA President Rotarian Holka Nak. Please listen to the video, which is a short video.
The speech.
Greetings and happy 116th anniversary. So much has changed in the world in 116 years, and there have been many years of dramatic growth and change. This past year, we have lived through some difficult times, but we have also been important actors in Rotary history, because what we have done this past year has helped move our organization forward dramatically. We found new ways to care for each other and to provide support in the face of a ragged pandemic. I have rarely left my home in Germany for almost a year, but I have attended more Rotary meetings and events than any president in our history. We have kept up our historic commitment to ending polio, took a strong stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion, created a new area of focus about the environment, and pointed to the future by looking for new ways that Rotaractors can take an expanded leadership role in everything we do. We have so much to be proud of today, and that is why we must keep growing and adapting. Rotary opens opportunities for you to live a richer, more meaningful life with friends around the world based on our core values. Everything we do opens another opportunity for someone, somewhere. So let's celebrate and look forward to the time when we can meet again face to face soon. Please take care of each other on this joyous day. Thank you.
was really very inspiring talk by RI President. May I now request our past President, Rotarian Vasanthi Ranganathan ma'am, to give us the concept review of this program.
Thank you, President-elect. There seems to be some noise from outside, which I cannot control. Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am, you can be heard.
All
very-
right. Sun is a life-giving energy, bringing light at all times at some part of the world. It never sleeps, never sets. So also Rotary, because Rotarians share the spirit of giving, learning, and being very human. How did this thought emerge? Polio eradication, shelters, disaster relief, food, education, health. If we are making an impact in all the 7 focus areas, how is it possible? It's because Rotary International made investments in people through scholarships, volunteer programs like VGT, peace programs, Rotaractors, Interactors. I also feel that many presidents, office bearers, ants learn after coming into Rotary to be great speakers because of the weekly meetings. RC Ambattur had more than 52 meetings. Add-ons were project meetings on long-term projects, site visits, fireside meetings. It's been a great experience. I've enjoyed Rotary since 1982 and went abroad in 1984. I felt that communities and people of the world needed to understand Rotary more. Most importantly, Rotarians need to understand Rotary alumni and draw upon those resources. Investment in people is very, very important, and Rotary does it all the time. The richness of Rotary is its belief on values and people. Today, Sun Never Sets in Rotary is a design that emerged out of that thought. I'm very happy that my sponsoring club is Rotary Club of Ambattur, and it is my home club that is hosting this part of the program. If you're dancing on the stage as a 5-year-old and you see your own family in the audience, you're just thrilled. I just feel like that, Bhupi, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Really, thanks a lot for sharing the beautiful thoughts. And as usual, your hard work, dedication, and total commitments towards Rotary is well recognized by one and all present here and also present world over. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. May I now request President Nominee, Rotary Club of Bombay West, to kindly introduce our RPF, Miss Rukmini Iyer.
Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir. You are very much audible, Rotarian Chandra Gautam, sir.
It's Dharmendra Sharma.
I think that the probably, yeah, please. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, Mr. Dharmendra Sharma, President Nominee, Rotary Club Bombay West. So, it's a privilege to introduce a Peace Fellow, Mrs. Rukmini Iyer. She is a leadership development consultant and peace builder with 20 years of international professional experience. Her connection with the Rotary family started in 1999 as a Rotaractor, where she continued until 2008, handling several leadership roles, including that of club president and district conference chairperson in 2009. She was part of group study exchange to Sri Lanka, and in 2013, she went to to be a Rotary Peace Fellow. She is actively associated with the Rotary Peace Fellow Alumni Association. Currently, she is also a part of a Rotary International Global DEI task force as a Peace Fellow representative, working towards enhancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in Rotary around the world. Her professional practice includes a consulting firm, Excellent Solutions, that delivers consulting, facilitation, and coaching services to global corporations, including Unilever, Mastercard, Barclays, Smith Medical, MediOcean, among other organizations in the area of conscious leadership, systematic change, diversity, and inclusion, well-being, non-violent communication, conflict management, etc. As a peace builder, her work revolves around peace education and dialogue. In association with the American NGO Seeds of Peace, she is engaged in running interfaith dialogues in India and other peace education programs for youth. She is also currently involved with an independent initiative around inner truth and reconciliation in South Asian context. She's often a speaker at conferences around leadership, gender inclusion, and peace building. She's based in Mumbai, India. So presenting our Peace Fellow, Rukmani Iyer.
Thank you, Rotarian Sharma. May I now request Ms. Rukmini Iyer to give us the insight of DEI, that is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Over to Ms. Rukmini Iyer.
Thank you, Colonel. And also thank you, Mr. Ruya, for inviting me into this meeting. Good morning, everyone. And I'm specifically speaking today in the capacity of being a member of Rotary's DEI Task Force, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force. Since I have only about 10 minutes, I'm primarily going to focus on what the task force is looking to establish in Rotary and not so much go into specific aspects of DEI, but I'm very happy to take questions at a later point in the meeting. So this is the first year at the beginning of President Holger's tenure that Rotary established a global task force to look at diversity, equity, and inclusion in the entire Rotary ecosystem, which means we're looking at Rotary, of course, and therefore addressing the about 1.2 million members that we have as Rotarians. But we're also looking at integrating other aspects of the Rotary ecosystem that includes Rotractors, Interact, Peace Fellows, Ambassadorial Scholars, and project partners in Rotary. So when we look at DEI, we're looking at all those lenses and the impact on each of these areas. The task force itself is led by Rotarian Valerie Wafer, who's going to be the incoming international vice president as well. So some of you are familiar with her being in social media in recent times. And we are about 12 people from across the world representing various races, ages, gender, and so on. And the intention of this task force, of course, is to look at various aspects and practices in Rotary which either work towards promoting DEI or we need to identify roadblocks and work towards overcoming them. And everyone except me in the task force is a Rotarian. I'm on board as a representative of Rotary Peace Fellows. Primarily because the Rotary Peace Fellows Alumni Association had made a strong case for DEI, and we were at the forefront of pushing the DEI agenda as well, and hence we were invited to send in a nominee from the association. So there are 4 primary focal points that the task force is currently engaged in, and one of those aspects is around, as most of us may have noticed, a mail in the recent days, I think sometime last week, around Rotary having partnered with the consulting firm PwC. So that's one of our mandates, that we assessed a few bids and chose PwC as our project partner to survey the current state of DEI in Rotary across the world. So in the coming weeks, what each of you would engage with is a survey to understand your experience of DEI within your club environment and also in the larger Rotary ecosystems. And I would highly encourage you to participate and give in your inputs, because that will prove valuable in our work forward. So that's one track that we're currently working on. Another track that we're looking at is our policies around DEI, which means we are really combing through the constitution, the bylaws, rules and regulations related to pretty much everything in Rotary, and looking at it through a DEI lens, which means, for example, are our policies and is our constitution created in a manner that actively promotes diversity, enables equity, and also creates inclusion. And if there are changes that need to be done in any of these documents in terms of making it more inclusive, for example, one simple thing that we've been working with is to ensure that the online face of Rotary, which is our website, how does it use language which is more inclusive? Because a lot of times in a lot of portions of the website, the language is quite binary. It largely talks of he and she, doesn't really include any other genders. So we're looking at correcting those aspects. Also looking at things like the visual impact of it. A lot of the pictures in various spaces in the Rotary website are largely white people. And we're looking to see how we can make sure that that's more representative of what Rotary really is. And therefore, do we have visual content around various people, various Rotarians from around the world, and not just a subset of it. So that's at the surface level of policy, but we're also looking at going through a lot of our other documents through a fine-tooth comb from the DEI lens. The third piece that we are working on as a task force is to support in assessing and creating learning resources for Rotarians and Friends of Rotary around DEI. I'm not sure if everyone has navigated through the DEI learning resources in the on the Rotary website. I'm pasting a link right now on the chat, which if you're logged into My Rotary, this link will take you to the learning resource page specifically around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And there are some lovely short online courses in there that you can take. You can also encourage Rotary clubs that you're associated with to take them. And even in general, a lot of those courses are very relevant to even friends and family. So that's something that I would encourage you to share. And we're also to look at how do we make sure that they are also representative of the regional and local context, because that's something that's very critical when we work with DEI, in the sense that we do need to definitely respect local norms and laws, and hence while we speak about policy work in DEI, it cannot really be universal. What we can encourage is moving towards a global standard, but we can't quite enforce policy when laws are different in different areas, in different regions in the world. But learning resources are certainly something that we're looking to actively promote. And one area of advocacy that several members of the task force are currently engaged with is to look at, can we really underline the importance of not just learning, but also practicing what is learned around DEI, and perhaps creating a mandate around making sure that a Rotarian goes through these and is certified in terms of DEI before applying to leadership positions within Rotary. For example, if you wish to be part of your own, the board of the club, or if you wish to be a club president, we're trying to see if we can encourage policies around making sure that the person is certified in DEI, so that we're able to actively encourage encourage practice of DEI. The reason for this, of course, I don't need to underline. I guess all of us probably are aware of the recent, in the recent weeks, about an uproar that was caused because a past international director of Rotary from Brazil a couple of weeks ago made comments in a training program which had all kinds of issues as far as DEI is concerned. So what he said was clearly homophobic, it was racist, it was ageist, and it ended up offending a lot of people that were present in the room. What really helped was that thankfully there were a lot of Rotractors present in that training room who took a really strong stand against it and made a noise. And you may have all come across President Holger's statement that came out a couple of weeks ago around this. So there's therefore the need for learning around DEI is very clear, and one of the mandates of the task force is to work in this direction as well. And finally, the fourth direction that we're working towards is also to assess and look at elements of culture in Rotary in terms of do we make a diverse audience feel welcome? For example, how is the culture in terms of welcoming non-dominant genders within a club? So if you're welcoming transgendered candidates or women candidates within Rotary clubs, how are they promoted towards leadership roles? What kind of support is made available to them if needed, and so on? So culture is another aspect that we're working towards. So yeah, that's in general about what the task force is currently engaged with. And of course, at a later point, I'm happy to address any questions that you may have around this. A request that I have, though, is while we are speaking about DEI in the Rotary context, DEI as a value needs to be embedded in each of us in every context of life that we are in terms of how do we practice DEI in our homes, in our families, in our workplaces, in our businesses that we run. If it's embedded as a value, then it expresses itself in every space that you are, including Rotary. And when we speak about DEI, we're not really talking about necessarily aligning with one global standard about it. We're really looking to accommodate as much as possible, become as wide as possible in terms of our thought processes, in terms of our acceptance of people, of cultures, of practices, and to create a spaciousness around this in every area of our life. And part of the work of the task force, as I said, is also to localize this work, right? And if we look at an Indic lens, for example, here, our indigenous perspectives around DEI are certainly very valuable. We see in our mythology several examples of how diversity and equity and inclusion is really a core part of us as a culture on the subcontinent. And the intention, therefore, is also to tap into that, to go back to values that we used to embrace and have been embracing for millennia, and yet sometimes in the process, perhaps partly due to colonization, partly due to other factors, we've lost out on some of those threads. And the idea is to really reintegrate some of those aspects. So some of the local pieces around DEI that we're working on in India are around caste, in terms of is there caste diversity and religious diversity in our clubs. We're looking at it through the disability lens in terms of how do we make sure that our club, each of our clubs, is representative of the community that we are in, which means if the community is diverse, then is that shown in the club. So I mean, I could cite several stories from our mythology which in a way teach us and also represent the kind of DEI practices that's existed in our system. And yet it's important to now consciously tap into it, to remember those lessons and to work with it. I'm towards the end of my time, so I don't want to go into the stories, but at a later point, I'm happy to address any questions. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, thank you so much for very crisp and informative talk on DEI. We have a question from our charter president of Rotary Club of Ambattur, Rotarian Krishnan sir. I'll just read out the question which he has put it on the chat box. Is there any time frame for this study and is going to be part of the Rotary Club's program?
It's certainly going to be part of every Rotary Club. That's really our aspiration, and that's what we're working towards. So while we're looking at it as a global task force for now, we are also strategizing ways to make sure that it permeates into the system right down to every Rotarian. In terms of time frame, this is the first year of the task force where we are already in conversation with incoming President Shekhar to look at how do we continue the task force work into the next year as well, because we've just about begun and that there is a lot more to do. So yeah, you will keep hearing about it in the years to come as well. It is a very long-term process.
Krishnan sir, I hope it clarifies. If you have any other questions, please unmute yourself and ask.
One other thing I want to check up or ask you is, it's such a vast subject. So do you think with 12 people in the task force, you will be able to do a complete study? Of course, Pricewaterhouse are coming into the picture. So are there going to be any physical meetings or will it be all only done on an online basis?
So we are very much, like I said, looking to localize this. So one part of what we are addressing is also how do we facilitate creation of local DEI champions who can be trained and then they go and deploy it in clubs at perhaps at the district level or even at the zone or the club level. So that's definitely something we're looking at, because otherwise, I mean, yeah, the idea of 12 members is to make sure that we get as many diverse perspectives as we can, but that's definitely not the end of it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Before I proceed further, I once again recognize the presence of all the participants which have taken out the time from their busy schedules and joined us today. My also sincere apologies for pronouncing it incorrectly. The president of Rotary Club of Bombay West, he's Rotarian Dharmendra Sharma ji, my sincere apologies. And may I now request our charter president, Rotarian NK, who is also the district chair for Rotary Peace District 3232, to introduce our chief guest of the day, Rotarian Rajendra Ruiya ji.
Thank you, Colonel Bupi. I am very happy to do this very difficult task of introducing such an accomplished person in a matter of 2 minutes. But that is all the time that has been allotted to me. And my mind goes back to the school days when we had to do a précis. They give you an essay running into several pages and you have to bring that down, shrink it down to 1/3. It was a big challenge, and I think I'm revisiting that today. Anyway, I'm very happy and I deem it a great privilege to introduce our chief guest, past President Rotarian Ruya, who has been a great help to me, particularly last year when I entered this Rotary Peace Fellowship. Our district took up this program only last year. Although at the global level, this had been introduced in the year 2002. And so we had nobody in our district who could kind of give me any practical examples or experiences for handling this program. Of course, Rotary, as Rukmini also mentioned, has got very good, rich literature. Any subject you take, plenty of information comes out there. But that all is theoretical. We really need somebody who has handled this. And who better than our chief guest? He has been handling this program for the last 15 years. And I would rate him as probably an authority on this subject. And this is what I was looking for over the several months, and it took me about 6 months of previous year before I could kind of connect with Rotarian Ruya. But once I connected with him, I can tell you, he was an ocean of help. He used to tell me, just on the WhatsApp, you send me list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, questions, and promptly you'll get answers. And this was the fact. And that is a dialogue we had for several weeks. And I tell you, that really gave me a tremendous amount of opening in the way I should take up this program. And I would say that, but for his help, we would not have been successful. And I'm happy to mention that in the maiden year, we were able to get one of our candidates selected. I think a lot of inputs, I think you have told me, has to be given to the candidates, even when they fill up the online application. It's a very complicated form running into 20 pages, asking for essays on various subjects and then references. So people cannot just take it up and finish it in one day. It requires several days. And all these details were furnished by him, which is not available in the literature. So I must thank him for all that. And I think I learned a lot through you, Riyaji. And apart from his 15 years in handling Rotary Peace Fellowship, he has actually created over that period more than 25 Rotary Peace Scholars. I think it's also a very remarkable achievement by any means, because you must understand that this is a global selection, and on average, about 800 to 900 candidates are kind of sponsored by different districts, selected rather, and sent to RI. And out of that, only about 1/7 are getting selected. For example, last year, out of 800, only 117 got selected. So it's a very thin ratio. And so it requires a lot of capability, expressing themselves properly and to put it on the paper, on the form application. And these are all the things which he has handled so well. And I can only tell you that when you talk to him, you will understand what is all involved and how much he has got experience and gathered information on this, which cannot be found in the PowerPoint presentation other places. In addition to all this, he has also done a lot of other activities, very busy at the Rotary district level in Bombay. He had been the president of this club the year 2001-2, where he, of course, had a very distinguished year of service. And he has also been doing a lot of other things like hosting district assemblies, setting up a Rotary blood bank, promoting scholarships, and the list goes on. And I can only sum it up by saying that the virtue of all this good work has finally been very well recognized by Rotary International, which has conferred on him the highest recognition award, Service Above Self. Very rare thing, and which is given only to people who have really done remarkable work, that belongs to that category. And also he has got the Rotary Foundation citation for meritorious service. That again is a very great achievement. And on this platform, I would like to appreciate and recognize the great work which he has done and the what do you call, recognition that he's got from RI. Now, getting back to his own family, he runs a family business which has taken to very great height, which of course not surprising. A person who goes into tremendous details achieves all that. And he is married to Sarita. His son Vedant assists him in his business, and his daughter Pooja is a postgraduate in product design, and she's pursuing this activity in Pune, where she's married to Suresh Goyal. And of course, you know, as a business person, leading business person, I would say, is one of the leading people in that field, what he's doing. And he's totally involved and committed to do his best to the community. And he's also very much involved in large number of organizations. I don't know how he finds the time. Organizations like Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, ASSOCHAM, and the list is big. And in many of them, he's having an active role as a member of the managing committee. So these are all the things. And I would just like to sum up by saying that Rotarian Rajendra Ruya is a wonderful person, a great role model for anyone who aims to do well in his life. And above all, the person whom you would like to call as a close friend, and which is what I am very proud to call him as a close friend of mine. A great pleasure in presenting to you our chief guest, the one and only Rotarian Rajendra Ruya. Thank you. Unmute.
Sir, kindly unmute yourself, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Krishnan, for that generous introduction. We really hit it off when he said he's from Ambattur, where I've been working for many years till last year. So Chennai is quite close to me. I have been given the task today of talking about Rotary Peace Fellowship. When you talk of Rotary Peace Fellowship, I'll just... Okay. Is my screen shared?
No, sir. Yes, it is shared now.
Okay. I'll just run through a presentation because that gives a complete idea of the project. This is Rotary Peace Fellowships. Rotary opens opportunities. This is my favorite phrase, give peace a chance, by John Lennon. That's what we are supposed to be doing in our movement, is to give peace a chance. And this program, more than anything, it does that. Because we have now 1,300 Peace Fellows around the world, and they're doing tremendous work in Peace Fellowship. What is the club? What do we need the clubs to do? We need the club to recommend a candidate for Peace Fellowship. It doesn't cost the club anything. It doesn't cost the district anything. All it does is a lot of work and contacting people. Now the question, where can I get a candidate like we have Rukmini here? Important places. And where can we meet, some of the Peace Fellows that we have from various professions in the world. In our district, we have 25 Peace Fellows coming from all kinds of fields. And I'm proud to say that, even today, the COVID problem issue is being handled by a Rotary Peace Fellow. So there's the additional municipal commissioner in Mumbai. What are the programs? The programs are two. One is a long-term, what we call a 2 years master's degree fellowship, which are there in 5 leading universities of the world, and a short-term program of 1 year at Chulalongkorn University, Bangkok, and Makerere University in Uganda, where in this new university, you have to be either working in Africa or you have to be from Africa. Now, where do we get the Peace Fellows from? They come from, as you can see, come from NGOs, government agencies, teaching, pursuing advanced degree courses, research, United Nations agencies are a good place, law enforcement, police, and even armed forces and others. I have found there is a tremendous, we have India's very strong peacekeeping forces. We go all around the world. Colonel, you can look at people who have been to peacekeeping forces. They would make excellent candidates and they would get a good chance of being selected.
Right.
These are the universities which we have a peace fellowship. Is Duke University and University of North Carolina, where besides peace, the candidate can learn political science, public health, city and regional planning, folklore, geography, global studies, journalism, and social work. Why am I saying this? You see, the Rotary Peace Fellowship course of the master's degree, the Peace Fellowship only covers about half the course studies. So the candidate has a scope of doing work in other areas also. Same way, University of Bradford in UK, where they can do international politics, security, economic and finance for development, international development management, project planning, peace studies, African peace and conflict studies. Then we have University of Queensland in Australia, where, of course, it's got varied courses. Too difficult to write down everything. Then there's International Christian University in Tokyo, Japan, that they can do politics and international studies, public economics, and of course, peace studies. Yeah, then the latest one which has been added is Uppsala in Sweden. So where you do peace studies, and then they have got a unique European background. So they have a lot of courses which the candidate can also do. Now we are looking at the short-term course. That is the one-year program, which is there at the Chulalongkorn University and Makerere University in Kampala, Uganda, where the candidates, because this is where we...
I request request, please mute yourself because there's a disturbance. Kindly mute your mobile, please. Yes, sir.
Where this program is a combined program of a online course for 1 week, and then a on-site training means you have to go to either Chula or Makerere for a 10-week course. That's a theory course. And then you come back to your home and do a 9-month social change initiative program. This is a new concept which we have started. So they come back home and say, before going, they have to pick up a social change initiative, which they will do. And that is what they do for 9 months. And there's a capstone seminar for 1 week at the end of course. So then they can go back, and this covers the whole year. What are the qualifications for the course? First of all, this program is not recommended for recent graduates or undergraduates. Work experience is a must. A strong commitment to international understanding and peace, which is demonstrated through the professional and academic achievements, because you cannot just take anyone theoretical knowledge. They have to have practical knowledge of peace and international understanding. Very strong leadership skills. Here, what I am looking for is if Rotary is going to spend money on someone, then that gentleman or a lady or even anyone from any caste or gender, they should have strong leadership skills because they have to come back and use the knowledge they get. For the diploma program, minimum 5 years work experience, and for the master's degree, that is the long term, they have to have at least 3 years work experience. Hold established careers in fields of industry or position relating to peace and conflict resolution. A bachelor's degree is a must for the master's program, but an equivalent experience is also accepted for the certificate program. And proficiency in English is a must because the program is totally in English, irrespective of where it is held. These are something which we have made for our district, though Rotary Foundation doesn't have any age criteria. We have found that professional in mid to upper level positions for the certificate program have to be 35 to 50. Because if they are not that age, they will not be able to understand and imbibe upon the program. And for the master's degree, at least 25 to 35. They can be in practically any field where they're dealing with peace and conflict. Again, where does a Rotary Club look for the candidates? We meet, for our weekly meetings, we have a lot of people from either IAS, IPS, NGOs, corporates in HR and industrial relation executives, armed forces, media professionals, and professionals from legal field. These are the people generally we have found have got exposure to conflict areas. When we call them for speakers, we save the biodatas and then send them details about the program. If they are interested, many of them come back, yes, we are interested. Where to look for candidates, past Rotaractors. Rotary Foundation promotes this program, past Rotaractors like Rukmini is a past Rotractor. Foundation alumni, where she is also foundation alumni, ambassadorial scholars. These help candidates to get selected. And Peace Fellows are a great resource. So existing Peace Fellows, we tell them to suggest new candidates. Friends, identifying candidates is not very difficult, and they are due in April. This is not enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. And it's not enough to believe in it. One must work at it. Those are the words I would like to end the presentation and open the floor for questions.
Sir, if there are any questions from anyone, I have not seen any question from the chat box. If you have any questions, please either give your reaction by raising your hand or unmute yourself and please ask your question to the chief.
I would request Rukmini if you want to add a few anything.
Well, one thing that's often, a constant conversation in the Peace Fellows, among Peace Fellow alumni, is around how we want to engage more with Rotary, and somehow we don't seem to find the space or the alignment to do that. And so, yeah, I guess what I can say is a request for support and for engagement. There are a whole lot of peace projects that can be done in our communities, and Rotary has the right outreach and resources, and Peace Fellows are definitely happy to contribute in terms of project design and ideas and implementation. So yeah, definitely there's a call for collaboration.
Thank you, Rukmini. We are in our district 3141. We had started 2 or 3 programs, but due to the lockdown, they are going slow.
Also, there is the association maintains a database of Peace Fellows that I'm putting out of the chat right now. If you're looking to invite more Peace Fellows into your club meetings as speakers, then this database gives you contact information and also specific mentions what areas of work that they do. So you can, and given that we're doing online meeting these days, you can practically reach out to any Peace Fellow in the world.
Sir, I have a question stroke suggestions to make. You mentioned that armed forces candidates are also eligible and they are the ideal ones who can be part of this initiative. Now, I just, is there any, first of all, the age criteria? The other day I had asked, because those who are veterans, they have gone past 54. We have a number of peacekeeping missions abroad in most of the countries to basically to win the hearts and mind of the people and bring out a condition where the peace exists between the warring resources and also the government concerned. Now, other young officers before retirement cannot be spared by the armed forces to take on these courses for a duration which is mentioned by you. So therefore, my suggestion, first of all, a question, can the age limit be lowered? Secondly, this issue should be taken by the concerned authorities with the Ministry of Defense to spare the younger officers to take part in these peacekeeping initiatives by the Rotary. Your response.
Yeah, Colonel, thank you for these 2 questions. You have 2 questions. One is armed forces personnel age 55 want to go for the course. They are welcome to come for the course, age 55, but we have to remember that we are investing a lot of effort and time into to teaching them this course. Now, normally we are looking for at least 10 to 12 years of active life not necessarily in the armed forces, but in the community, where they can spread the word and help the people. If there is anyone, generally 55, we don't have any age limit. But we have to, as Rotary, we have to look at people. If we are teaching anyone anything, or spending money on that, then it should be useful for the community. That is one thing. And second question about leave during service. Leave is being granted, especially lot of police officers are going for the program. They apply for a leave. Once they are selected, they apply for the leave, and the file goes from, say, Maharashtra, it goes right up to Delhi, and leaves are being sanctioned. They are coming as study leave, so they are being sanctioned.
So, but in the case of the army, in the list of the courses which are specified for the officers to be undertaken on study leave, this course is not mentioned there. So therefore, unless the central government, that is the Ministry of Defense, until the central government is apprised of, state government may be doing it at their level, but not the central government. For the armed forces personnel, I'm talking of specifically for the Army, Navy, Air Force, and maybe the Coast Guard too.
You can help us by writing to them whatever you require. We can provide you the details. You can write to them, and we have Rotary office in Delhi. They can follow it up.
Yes, sir.
But we have had many peace fellows from the armed forces in India.
Okay, sir.
So I think if you apply, they can go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
We really would appreciate this.
And
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
I've been asking you many questions in the past, but not today. I will do that. See, what I want to know is, in your district, I know you have been doing a tremendous job there, but do you find many other Rotarians who are taking interest and in getting involved in it, or is it? Are you finding it difficult?
You're hitting on a nerve.
Yeah.
No, we have 3 or 4 Rotarians who, of course, they keep changing, but we have a committee that works, and we are involving the committee. We involve with, once the application we get, then talking to them and helping them fill up the form. That kind of support, I'm very happy that all our alumni are doing that. The form has to be filled up correctly. Like as you said, this is international competitive selection. So the form has to be perfect. And that perfection we get to every prospective candidate. We have a peace fellow assigned to them as well as a Rotarian assigned to them. And then they guide them through the application process.
And on an average, how much time should the candidate allot and spend from the time of starting to enter the online application till he gets it submitted?
It goes on. That's why we have kept a deadline of April, so that the month of April they spend 10 days, 15 days on filling up the form. Then they are in dialogue with the peace fellow and a Rotarian who helps them write the essays. The main thing is essays.
Yeah.
They go through 3 or 4 changes or iterations in the essay. And I think 15 to 20 days, and then the month of May, we have interviews.
Yeah, great.
So they have to devote time.
Yeah, they have to get started, I would say, probably by March.
They have to get started now.
Yeah, even now.
February onwards.
See, for example, last year, we had a very good candidate. I thought he was a sure bet because he had done a lot of work, community, very well qualified, etc. But I kept telling him, you must start filling up the application form, online application form. He got involved with the migrants support and all that. So he was doing all that work. And finally he called me at midnight on May 30th. That was, they had to close the.
That was the deadline.
And he calls me and he says, I will take advantage of the 9.5 hours cushion I have between this and America. I said, there's no way you can fill up the form on that basis. You forget it. Because, you have to get the recommendation from people.
No. It is
Just not on. I kept telling him, but he wouldn't listen. But he's going to apply this year.
Yes. Don't get disheartened by that, Krishnan. People who you at least have his name, he's interested. This year he will apply. I have candidates who have contacted me 3 years ago and they're applying now.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Okay. So the next question is from Prateek, and he says, can we talk about a real world example how a peace fellow has done to bring about the peace/conflict resolution?
I can give you a tremendous lot of examples. You see, we do not ask anything from the peace fellow after they've completed the course. They have to go about their careers. But what the difference is that the decisions that they make always have an element what they have learned in the peace fellowship course. One example is how many of you are aware of the Singur debacle? Have you heard of that? What happened in Singur? Singur is a place in West Bengal where the government allotted land and set up a chemical zone. And the locals, and after the companies started coming in, the locals objected to it. They had a strike. And for example, even Tata had to shift the nano plant. That is the thing that has happened. What was the problem there? The problem was relief and rehabilitation. We have a Rotary Peace Fellow, Rajiv Jalota in Mumbai, is from our district.
Hello.
Yeah. Rajiv Jalota was the CEO of MIDC at that time, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, like you have SIDCO there. He worked out a very fair and equitable relief and rehabilitation package, which he had learned during his course. And that relief and rehabilitation package helped him get 25,000 acres land from the farmers. They were happy to give them land because the relief and rehabilitation package was very fair. And that example has been carried forward by the government of India, and that similar relief and rehabilitation package is being used today by government of India when they are acquiring land for public purposes. All the metros we are seeing, all the trains we are seeing, that is the advantage of the work or the learning in peace and conflict resolution. Another example, we are going through a COVID. Now the additional municipal commissioner of Mumbai is a Rotary Peace Fellow. And he is on record and telling me that in the last 9 months, the policies he has been able to design has got roots in what he learned in Peace Fellowship. It is not single decisions, but a series of decisions that they take. There are countless stories on that. Rukmini can also give light on what Peace Fellows have been doing, how they have been able to implement the learnings in society.
Yeah, I guess that there are tremendous examples of it all around the world. I mean, there are a lot of peace fellows who are involved in mediation at various levels. That there's a lot of initiatives that we were doing in terms of running schools in Syria, looking at mediation in conflict zones. We're looking at people like Elsa De Silva from our district doing absolutely fabulous work around gender-based violence and how do we mitigate that. Uh, Looking at internally displaced people in India, we have a peace fellow, Vikas Gora in Telangana, who's doing great work around that, particularly in terms of child rights. And so, yeah, there's all kinds of work that's happening with peace fellows around the world.
If there are no more questions, if there are any questions, please ask. If there are no questions, sir, please put it in the chat box in case you still have any queries or doubts. Well, thank you, sir, for a very motivating and inspiring talk, and also the detailed methodology for the various youngsters, retractors, Rotarians, and anyone who's interested in taking up these courses as Peace Fellowship. You have explained it, in-depth study, you have done it and explained it to them how it can be achieved. Thank you very much, sir. Before I proceed further, I'm really grateful on behalf of everyone present here, extend our gratitude and thanks for having spared your time and be with us on this great occasion and also address the audience. It was lovely to have you here with us today. And I will quote an ideal quote by Dalai Lama on the peace. Peace does not mean an absence of conflicts, friends. Difference will always be there. Peace means solving these differences through peaceful means, through dialogue, through education, knowledge, and through human approach. Thank you very much, sir. Very kind of you. May I now request, we have the Secretary's announcement from Rotary Club of Ambattur. We do not have any announcement as far as today is concerned. May I request the Secretary of Rotary Club of Bombay West to make his Secretary's announcements.
Good morning, everyone. Today we have a musical fellowship with a versatile singer who was a retractor, Anupama Roy, at 7 p.m. On Friday 26th, we have a monthly board meeting. And next Wednesday, we have our district governor visiting our club. That's our OCB. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That's a really quick one, well-organized program for the entire duration, which you covered in a very, very specific time. May I now request the President-elect of Rotary Club of Bombay West to kindly give the word of thanks.
Good afternoon, folks. I trust I'm audible, first of all, right now?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Great. What a fantastic theme. The sun never sets on Rotary. And as long as we have such luminous topics and great ideas, the sun will not only never set, it will continue to rise and shine. Rotary itself is a sun, if you call me that, by itself, in the dark sky that the world is today. The topics of diversity, equity, inclusion, and peace fellows are, I think, twin prongs which will really, really help the world. I lived in the US several years ago, and as a young man, I felt one of the real topics which should have helped the US was inclusion of the traditionally repressed sections of society. And India is essentially the US 2000 years later, as I realized. They're in the process where they're assimilating a lot of different people, and they have their own stresses, we have our own stresses, and the only way out of this, in a humane way to get maximum people into the dawn of prosperity, is to include them where there is prosperity, understand that there is diversity, and different approaches need to be made to reach out to different people to include them. If you don't do it, you're going to have a lot of strife, which is what the world currently is seeing. Peace Fellows is obviously the active arm of that, which can help start this process in which people reach out to each other. And having Peace Fellows, spearheaded somebody like Rajendra ji, it's yeoman work, it's excellent work. I've spoken to some of the peace fellows, and there's literally a sparkle in their eyes when they talk about how passionate they are about applying the concepts of peace to different facets of society. So having said that, I appreciate everybody who logged into this program and took the effort, especially Rotary Club of Ambattur for organizing this, and my Rotary Club, which is Rotary Club of Bombay West. So once again, thanks for everybody for attending, and I hope you all take away something from this and apply it, because the world needs it today. Thank you.
Thank you, President-elect, for your wonderful vote of thanks. I'll be failing in my duties if I once again do not thank everyone present here from both the clubs and all the dignitaries from the other clubs and the district officials who have joined us today for this great meeting. We've been really fortunate to have you all today. I'll also be failing in my duties if I do not thank the Rotarian David Sampson of our Rotary Club of Ambattur, who has been working very closely based on the directions of Rotarian Vasanti Ranganathan, who has been active right from the morning 5 o'clock till late night. Thankful to Hari Karnam, who's always there to give us the technical support to make the virtual platforms very, very effective as and when required. Thank you, Hari Karnam. If there's anything, we have close to another 5 to 7 minutes, which we have been able to save by the, since the people, most of the speakers have been absolutely bang on as far as the timings were concerned. We still have some cushion time. If there are still any questions, queries, or any viewpoints, please go ahead before we go for the national anthem.
Can I share a couple of thoughts? Bhupi?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to share a couple of thoughts.
Please, ma'am.
Yeah. With so many peace initiatives happening, peace leaders might think of our long-term projects. We have a school and we have a vocational center and a hospital. All sorts of people access that, particularly the young kids in our school and our IPACM New Mayor Center. You could take it up as one of a part of your peace project, where any one of your peace scholars can do an initiative, because we bring together a lot of children from the underprivileged communities in the locale. Also, our Rotary Club of Ambattur has something we call a SCOP project, which our Rotarian Ravi Shankar has been good enough. It was started with Thiru, and now Ravi has decided he will share it with all the other districts. And we have ever so many kids participating in many, many districts of Rotary. So I thought, if Rotary Club of Ambattur, we have a lot of things going for us. So if the initiative can be taken up by you and we have a trust account, you could participate with Rotary Club of Ambattur as a project with the consent of our board and all that, so that we can start off in our centers and then scale it up in the district. I would really urge you to consider the possibility, Rajendra Roy and Rukmani, and then I'm sure RCA can look at it. Just a thought.
Yeah, Vasanti, before that, I mentioned it briefly, but I tell you, you have, do you have a lot of alumni, foundation alumni in your district?
Yeah, only one peace person going this year, but we do have some alumni. Yeah.
Why
we have
don't
to get
you?
them to be active, huh?
Yes, but they can get you good candidates.
We've been trying so hard, believe me.
No, they can be a good candidate for peace fellowships.
No, I'm not talking about peace fellowship. I'm talking
No,
about
I
peace
know,
project.
but that is where their involvement will start again with Rotary.
Right.
I've had Rukmini is one, but I've had 3 or 4 GSE alumni as peace fellows. They account for the program. They are very, very good candidates, and they are so very involved in the program even now.
All right, let me check it.
Thank you, Rotarian Vasanthi Ranganathan, for giving us the food for thought. And I'm sure we can work towards this and find out the ways and means what best we can do for our underprivileged children in both these schools, IPACM Center and TV Nagar School. I am